$436,000, $679,000, $859,000. Nearly $2 million hiding in just 3 Lincoln Wheat Pennies. The scary part? One of them could be sitting in a forgotten coin jar right now. Collectors are paying life-changing money for these pennies, but only if you know the clues. And the first discovery starts with a 1952 D wheat penny worth $436,000. The number that stopped more than a few collectors in their tracks was $436,000. Not for a gold coin, not for a century-old rarity hidden in a museum. The price was connected to a Lincoln wheat penny dated 1952 with a D mint mark, a coin that millions of Americans once carried in their pockets, without a second thought. That alone creates a mystery. How can something so common on the surface become valuable enough to compete with luxury, homes, and exotic cars? The story begins in Denver, where this penny was struck during a fascinating period of American history. The United States was moving through the early 1950s, a time of economic growth, expanding industry, and post-war optimism. Pennies were produced by the hundreds of millions, and most were spent, lost, or forgotten. Yet somewhere within that enormous production run, a tiny group of coins emerged with characteristics that collectors still chase decades later. The first clue is the small D mint mark beneath the date. That letter tells us the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. To most people, it looks insignificant. To experienced collectors, it is the beginning of an investigation. The mint mark can influence rarity, strike quality, and collector demand. But even among Denver coins, not all 1952 D wheat pennies are created equal. Some stand far above the rest, and the reasons are more surprising than many people realize. One reason collectors become obsessed with this coin is strike quality. When examining a wheat penny, experts look closely at Lincoln's hair details, the sharpness of the wheat stalks on the reverse, and the overall definition of the design. Many coins entered circulation immediately and lost those details through years of use. But occasionally, a coin survives with exceptional sharpness. When that happens, collectors begin asking a dangerous question. Could this be one of the finest examples known? That question becomes even more important when color enters the conversation. Copper coins change over time. Most turn brown. Some develop red-brown surfaces. The rarest examples retain their original bright red color from the day they left the mint. Collectors pay enormous premiums for original red coins because they are visual time capsules. Imagine opening a roll of pennies and seeing one that still glows as if it were struck yesterday. Most people would overlook it. A specialist would stop immediately. Then another mystery appears. Some 1952 D wheat pennies show signs of die cracks, raised lines caused by aging mint dies. At first glance, these marks can seem like damage, but certain collectors actively search for them because they reveal part of the coin's manufacturing story. Every crack becomes evidence of what happened inside the mint decades ago. A second trait involves repunched mint marks, where the D mint mark appears to show extra impressions beneath or around the main letter. These varieties attract attention because they capture a moment when the minting process was not perfectly aligned. To casual observers, it may look minor. To variety hunters, it is a clue worth studying under magnification. The third area of interest is die doubling. On some coins, parts of the design may appear slightly doubled due to die creation issues. Strong examples can become highly desirable because they are easier to identify and much harder to find. Suddenly, a penny worth 1 cent becomes something collectors compete to own. But finding one of these traits is only part of the puzzle. Condition often decides whether a coin is ordinary or extraordinary. This is where grading enters the story. Professional grading services examine preservation, luster, surface quality, and overall eye appeal. A difference of only a few. Grading points can mean thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The highest grade examples become trophies. They are the coins advanced collectors wait years to acquire. And that raises another uncomfortable question. What if a forgotten coin jar, old family collection, or inherited box of wheat pennies contains a 1952 D that has never been examined properly? It happens more often than people think. Valuable coins frequently spend decades, unnoticed because nobody looked closely enough. Yet as remarkable as the 1952 D Liberty Lincoln Wheat Penny is, it is only the beginning of this investigation. The next coin takes the mystery in a direction that many collectors still struggle to explain. Its story becomes stranger its appeal becomes stronger, and the clues surrounding it only deepen the hunt. Keep watching, because coin number 2 changes everything. The first thing that caught the collector's attention was not the date, it was the color. Inside a group of ordinary wheat pennies sat a tiny, unusually dark coin. At a glance, it looked almost black. Most people would have dismissed it as dirty, damaged, or worn beyond saving. In fact, that nearly happened. But when the coin was examined more closely, a completely different story began to emerge. The date read 1950, and beneath it was a small but important clue, the D mint mark. That discovery started an investigation that would eventually connect this humble-looking penny to values reaching $679,000 under extraordinary circumstances. The mystery is simple. Why would collectors pay enormous sums for a coin that many people might throw into a junk coin pile? To answer that question, we have to go back to America in 1950. The country was entering a new decade. Industry was booming. Millions of coins were flowing through the economy, and wheat pennies were everywhere. The Denver Mint produced vast quantities of cents, meaning most 1950 D pennies are common, but experienced. Collectors learned long ago that mintage numbers alone rarely tell the whole story. The real story begins after the coin leaves the mint. Some 1950 D wheat pennies developed unusually dark surfaces over time. In certain cases, collectors describe them as nearly black. Many of these pieces are simply heavily toned or environmentally affected. Yet every so often, a coin survives with original surfaces hidden beneath decades of storage. That creates a fascinating dilemma. Is the darkness hiding damage, or is it hiding something valuable? Collectors have spent years asking that question because appearance alone can be misleading. More than one seemingly unattractive coin has revealed exceptional quality once examined. Under proper lighting and magnification, then investigators encounter the next clue, the tiny D mint mark. For specialists, the mint mark is not just a letter, it is evidence. It identifies the coin's birthplace and connects it to specific die, varieties, and production characteristics. Certain collectors build entire collections around Denver Mint wheat pennies because subtle differences can transform an ordinary coin into something far more desirable. One characteristic that attracts attention is the possibility of repunched mint marks. Under magnification, traces of additional impressions may appear around the D. These varieties tell a story about the minting process itself, and collectors love coins that reveal those hidden details. A second area of interest involves die cracks and die breaks. These raised features formed as mint. Dies aged during production, too. Some people, they look like imperfections. To variety hunters, they are fingerprints from history, proving exactly how a particular coin was created. The third characteristic is die doubling. On select examples, parts of the design may show noticeable doubling effects. Finding one can instantly change how collectors view the coin. Suddenly, the question is no longer whether the penny is interesting. The question becomes how rare that specific variety might be. But here's where the story becomes even stranger. Many collectors are not chasing the error alone. They are chasing perfection. A 1950 D wheat penny in average circulated condition may attract little attention. Yet an elite example with exceptional luster, strong strike quality, clean surfaces, and attractive original color enters an entirely different category. The gap between those two coins can be enormous. That is why grading plays such a critical role. Professional graders study every detail, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the preservation of the wheat ears, the strength of the luster, and the overall eye appeal. A single grade increase can dramatically affect value. In the highest certified grades, competition becomes intense because so few examples survive at that level. And that creates one of the most exciting questions in coin collecting. What if a forgotten album, family inheritance, or old coin jar contains a 1950 D wheat penny that nobody ever submitted for grading? The possibility may sound unlikely, yet discoveries continue to happen. Coins are overlooked every year because their true significance remains hidden beneath ordinary appearances. By now, coin number 2 has already raised the stakes far beyond the first discovery. A dark-looking penny, a mysterious mint mark, unusual varieties, and the possibility of extraordinary value create a story few people expect from a 1-cent coin. But the investigation is not over. In fact, everything so far has been leading toward a final coin that pushes the mystery even further. Compared with what comes next, Even this remarkable 1950 D wheat penny begins to look like a warm-up. The last coin in this documentary carries a reputation that makes collectors stop, stare, and question whether they are looking at one of the most astonishing penny discoveries of all. Missing coin number. 3 would mean missing the biggest revelation of the entire hunt. Before the bidding even reached its final minutes, experienced collectors already knew what was happening. The room had changed. Conversations became quieter. Eyes stayed locked on a single coin. Every new bid arrived faster than the last. What sat under the display lights was not gold, not silver, and not a famous treasure recovered from a shipwreck. It was a 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark, a coin that had become one of the most desirable targets in the wheat penny world. And after everything we've explored so far, this is the coin that brings the entire journey to its peak. At first glance, the 1940 wheat penny seems almost ordinary. Millions were produced, and examples still appear in collections across America today. That fact creates the biggest mystery of all. How can a coin that appears common become the object of intense collector competition? The answer begins with understanding that elite collectors are not chasing just any 1940 wheat penny. They are chasing the absolute best examples known to exist. This coin was struck during a fascinating period of American history. Europe was already engulfed in World War II, while the United States stood on the edge of changes that would soon reshape the world. Every 1940 wheat penny was created during that important era, making it a direct connection to a remarkable moment in history. Then there is the detail many people overlook. The coin has no mint mark. That tells collectors it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike Denver or San Francisco issues, Philadelphia coins of this period often carried no mint mark at all. To an untrained eye, the missing letter means nothing. To a collector, it immediately identifies the coin's origin and opens the door to a completely different set of possibilities. And this is where the investigation becomes serious. Elite examples are separated from ordinary examples by tiny details that most people never notice. The first is strike quality. On average coins, Lincoln's hair details may appear soft, and portions of the wheat ears can lack sharpness. But on premium examples, every design element appears bold and fully defined. Collectors often spend years searching for a coin with exceptional strike characteristics, because strong strikes become increasingly difficult to find in top condition. The second factor is original color and eye appeal. Copper is unforgiving. Decades of exposure can dramatically change its appearance. Most surviving examples develop darker tones over time. But when a 1940 wheat penny retains vibrant, original red surfaces, collectors pay attention immediately. Those coins represent a tiny, surviving group that escaped the damage of circulation and time. Then comes the third factor, varieties and errors. Some specialists search relentlessly for double die characteristics, where portions of the design show signs of doubling from the die creation process. Strong examples generate significant excitement because they offer both rarity and visual appeal. Others pursue die cracks and retained die breaks, features that reveal the physical life of the dies used to strike the coin. These clues transform a simple penny into a historical artifact, documenting the minting process itself. A third area of interest involves die, polishing lines, and advanced die-state varieties. These subtle characteristics often require magnification to identify, but experienced collectors know that unusual die states can make a coin stand out from thousands of similar examples. But even those traits are only part of the story. What truly separates legendary coins from ordinary ones is preservation. Professional grading services examine every surface, every mark, every trace of luster, and every detail of eye appeal. A coin that survives with nearly flawless surfaces enters an entirely different league. The population of such examples becomes incredibly small, and that scarcity fuels fierce demand. This is where auction drama takes over. Imagine two advanced collectors who have spent years building world-class Lincoln cent collections. Both need the same coin. Both know another opportunity may not appear for years. Neither wants to lose. The result? Bidding wars that push values into astonishing territory. And that brings us to the moment this entire documentary has been building toward. For a truly elite 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark, exceptional eye appeal, remarkable preservation, outstanding strike quality, and collector-grade rarity, values have reached an incredible $859,000, not because it is made of precious metal, not because it is ancient, but because the finest examples represent a level of rarity and desirability that collectors spend decades pursuing. And perhaps the most fascinating part of the story is that somewhere, right now, old coin albums remain unopened. Family collections sit untouched in drawers. Wheat pennies rest quietly inside jars, boxes, and forgotten folders. Most will be ordinary, a few will be surprising, and every collector knows the same thing. Hidden treasures are still waiting to be discovered. That possibility is what keeps the hunt alive. The next extraordinary coin is almost always found where nobody thought to look. And sometimes it starts with a single penny.